Set yourself up for an interstellar stunner because, according to a group of researchers, Betelgeuse, the entrancing red supergiant adorning Orion's shoulder, has already exploded. That's right, you heard that right, and we're not kidding. Within the next 10 years, or a few decades, its brilliant aftermath will illuminate the night sky. But how did researchers arrive at this claim? Should we be concerned? Could the James Webb Space Telescope capture the remnants of Betelgeuse? Today, we're diving deep into all the latest details. One of the most prominent stars in the night sky in the northern hemisphere during winter is the red supergiant star Betelgeuse. It's among the handful of stars that shine brightly enough for us to see with the naked eye, characterized by its ruddy orange color. Betelgeuse is typically the 10th brightest star in the night sky, but as you may already know, it's long been known to vary in brightness. Part of the reason for this is that Betelgeuse is by no means your regular star. Due to its enormous size, if we were somehow able to replace Betelgeuse with our own little sun, it would stretch out all the way to the asteroid belt and have a mass roughly 20 times that of the sun. It might come as a shock, but Betelgeuse is relatively young for a star, with an age estimated to be around 8 to 10 million years. In comparison, our sun is much older, with an estimated age of around 4.6 billion years. This is because supergiant stars like Betelgeuse burn through their nuclear fuel rapidly and go supernova relatively quickly on cosmic timescales. This also means they evolve rapidly, and Betelgeuse may, in fact, have done that right before humanity's eyes. To understand how researchers reached the conclusion that Betelgeuse had already exploded, it's crucial to delve into the context. The story begins around the 2nd century BC when Chinese astronomers made a significant observation. Betelgeuse showed a distinct yellow hue. Fast forward to the middle of the 2nd century AD, and the Greek astronomer Ptolemy described it as orangish or reddish, similar to how it appears today. Likewise, medieval observers in the Middle East noticed a similar shading. The question arises, how were colors named or perceived in the past? But in this case, there is a physical possibility that Betelgeuse went through a color change within a few centuries. It's possible that Chinese astronomers observed Betelgeuse during its yellow supergiant phase, and over several centuries it transitioned into the red supergiant phase. Given that humans, by nature, are night sky watchers, you have to consider how many people across the globe could have seen the stars change but left no records. After all, changes to a star like that probably came with all sorts of dimming and brightening events that aren't recorded. Imagine them looking up at the night sky and saying, "Hey, didn't that star used to be brighter?" And that is exactly what's happening right now. Betelgeuse is a variable star, but it seems to adhere to some cyclic behavior. Starting in December 2019, Betelgeuse's brightness unusually plummeted, which was noticeably visible to the naked eye for those used to observing the star. It was not its usual self until mid-2020. Over time, it recovered, and one theory was that some of these cycles had coincided, making for an especially deep dip in brightness. However, observations made by the Hubble Space Telescope showed something rather peculiar. It appeared that Betelgeuse had ejected a massive amount of fiery material into space, forming an enormous dust cloud. This dust cloud, in turn, dimmed a significant portion of the star's light when seen from our perspective. The change was quite remarkable. Betelgeuse, once counted among the 10 brightest stars in the night sky, faded to the point where it ranked lower than the 20th brightest. It was truly astonishing to witness its dimness compared to its neighboring star Aldebaran, which holds the 14th position concerning brightness. Fortunately, Betelgeuse showed signs of improvement, but its strange behavior did not stop. In fact, it is currently displaying a state much more bizarre than simple dimming. Over the past few months, Betelgeuse has undergone a dramatic increase in brightness, surpassing its usual brilliance by a staggering 50%. This perplexing situation is quite unsettling for a star that is known for its changes. The dimming events could be caused by dust or overlapping cycles, or perhaps the star developed massive sunspots. However, a significant increase in brightness is an entirely different matter. Though it might be related to the previous event when Betelgeuse expelled material in 2019, it likely caused a major disturbance in the star's plasma flow. The current behavior we observe could be considered a delayed aftershock of that ejection. But what lies behind this exceptional behavior, surpassing the star's normal fluctuation? One moderate theory that has been widely discussed is that Betelgeuse is nearing the supernova stage. While conservative estimates still suggest that the star is around 100,000 years away from its supernova event, we will present evidence to challenge this notion and show that it has already happened. So, what is the evidence? According to a significant recent scientific paper by Hideyuki and associates from Tohoku University in Japan, link in the description, Betelgeuse has already undergone a supernova explosion, and we might be witnessing the aftermath of this cosmic event within 10 years or a few decades from now. Yes, that's right. As amazing as it sounds, the last observed supernova in our galaxy was Kepler's supernova, which was all the way back in the 1600s. Through a careful examination of Betelgeuse's fluctuation patterns, the researchers have identified 4 distinct periodic changes occurring at intervals of 2,200, 420, 230, and 85 days. While the origin of the longest period remains unknown, it is speculated to be the key period, with the shorter intervals potentially serving as clues. The researchers propose a model suggesting that Betelgeuse is in a late stage of carbon burning, implying that it may be on the verge of a dramatic explosion, positioning it as a prime candidate for the next expected supernova event within our Milky Way galaxy. When it comes to unraveling the mystery surrounding Betelgeuse, there's a bit of a puzzle. You see, there are some conflicting observations regarding the ejection of materials and the star's subsequent recovery. The general consensus leans toward a mass ejection event, something not entirely unheard of for other types of stars, although on a smaller scale compared to our own Sunday. But here's the twist. Supernovae are a real thing too. We actually witnessed one in a satellite galaxy of the Milky Way back in 1987. So, while it's possible that our estimates for Betelgeuse's explosion timing could be off, don't go planning a vacation around it just yet. The intriguing part is that Betelgeuse is currently interesting to observe. It has slipped behind the sun and won't be visible again until at least August. As a result, we're left in the dark about what this enigmatic star is up to right now. What we do know, however, is that it's defying its usual patterns by brightening. Now, here's something fascinating. Betelgeuse's colossal size and relatively close proximity, roughly 650 light-years away, allow us to resolve its disk when observing it. Most stars are simply too far away, appearing as mere points of light, but with Betelgeuse we have a rare opportunity to capture direct variations in its light output through photography. So, we not only have a star that could potentially go supernova, but also plenty of data to collect, including images, even if they might be a bit fuzzy. Let's imagine the scenario where Betelgeuse has indeed gone supernova. How would it look? First things first, it will be a true spectacle. But don't worry. It's entirely safe for us here on Earth. You see, Betelgeuse is far enough away that it won't harm our planet when it goes supernova. However, it won't be the brightest object in the sky. In fact, the moon will still outshine it by far, and let's not forget the sun. Nevertheless, it would cast its own shadows at night and remain visible during the daytime for about a year. Now, here's the interesting part. The supernova would be visible at night for several months, gradually fading. There might be a brief period where it regains some of its former brightness, but eventually, it will continue to fade until the familiar shoulder star in the constellation Orion disappears altogether. While this supernova won't pose any danger to us, it could cause some confusion, particularly for animals. Some creatures rely on moonlight for navigation, and with an extra bright light in the sky casting shadows, it might throw them off their game a little. But that's not all. Astronomy itself would face some challenges. Observing the night sky from Earth during times when the moon is shining brightly can be a bit tricky. An extremely bright supernova would only complicate matters further. However, many telescopes would likely be more interested in capturing the supernova's magnificence than anything else, even if it means adjusting their observations. Plus, there would be some warning signs before the visible explosion, like detecting neutrinos and gravitational waves from the star. But here's the big question. If Betelgeuse has already gone supernova, could we catch the aftermath? For that, we need to wait for the James Webb Space Telescope to detect the supernova remnant. So, how long could it take for us to see the actual explosion? It all depends on how far Betelgeuse is from us. We've discussed that it's approximately 650 light-years away, but it could be even closer, possibly within 520 to 650 light-years. The uncertainty arises from the star's immense size, which makes it challenging to get an exact distance. It's intriguing to think that Betelgeuse may have already exploded, but for now we have no way of confirming it. The big question that remains is when we will know for sure. All we can do is wait for August to roll around and see what this fascinating star has in store for us.